All these rumors are fun to talk about, and Red Bull hasn't blown up yet.
Alex Albon's birthday, and his gift, Logan Sargent's car.
With the drain covers, why is this such a big issue?
That's what I'm saying. Alonso more and more is looking like Aaron Rodgers.
He's geriatric. We just kind of want him for merit mark.
You cannot win a constructor's battle when your second driver is not performing.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Things are getting crazy.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Lights Out Latest. My name is Marina. I'm here with Tristan, Steven, and Jason. And today we're going to talk some of the biggest controversies of 2024. But as always, before we get into that, let's get into our headlines. And of course, Merry Christmas if you celebrate, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, etc.
Happy Holiday. What did Frosty Snowman
on this sheet?
He said happy birthday, didn't he?
Frosty. He's Frosty the Snowman.
He said, happy birthday. That's how he says it. Just like...
Well, it is Jesus' birthday, so I guess
Indeed
it counts,
it
right?
is. Indeed.
I don't know.
Whoa,
Yeah.
mason jar glass. Big
But
move.
also knows Frosty was born at that moment. So it was his birthday.
Anyways, anything on the sheet, like holidays-wise for F1, but there were some funny ones. I've yet to see a George and Fernando from this year. I don't think they celebrated together.
No,
They probably kept that under wraps. They knew that thing was going straight to the media.
No,
If they
Did George have a lady last year? He's had a lady for a couple years.
He's had a lady for a couple years. He's had a girlfriend for a couple years, but yeah. Lando almost hard launched his relationship. So did Charles and Carlos, even though they're kind of already hard launched. But there's plenty on social media about that, so we don't have to talk about that.
that's news to me.
Let's talk Ferrari, because there's like 4 bullet points for Ferrari. First thing, and this is kind of old, but we haven't had a pod in a hot minute. So Ferrari gifted Carlos his car from Silverstone. His race
That's
win.
a great move. That's so cool.
That's pretty cool.
I think his dad also just drove it, didn't he?
He did.
Yes.
They did.
Yeah.
His dad drove it. He drove it, and
At the same time, too.
Charles was there in blue. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Oh.
Like
I
wearing
wonder
a
what
blue
that means for that car. I wonder what it means, like upkeep wise. Is he just gonna throw it in the garage and then like the next time he wants to drive it, it'll be good to go, or does it need
I
like?
think there's a lot of upkeep to an F1 car.
Probably.
Yeah.
In a road car. But what I will say is I think a lot of drivers that have their cars, like Charles, who has his like car from his first win, I think, that Monza and Spa. Was it Spa? It was Spa, right? Car.
Yeah.
I think he keeps it in a museum, and then they do all the upkeep for you.
Oh.
So if
Interesting.
you actually want to drive it, that's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
So
I
like
think
Ferrari,
Yeah.
they have a Corsa Clienti program where if they sell all their old race cars, not just F1, but every series. You could just buy one. If you do, you could submit it in the Corsa Clienti program, and they will just bring around the world. They say, "Hey, we have an event at Imola this week. Do you want your car there?" And they'll send the car, your mechanic's ready, and you show up and you get to drive it.
That's
And
pretty
that's how it
cool.
works.
That is really cool.
I can't imagine how expensive it is to fly your own F1 car across the world. Like Laguna Seca, you ever seen the one with the like Schumacher Ferrari snapped in half and the guy's legs are sticking out of it?
I don't think so. No.
No.
Well, there's a photo of like a 2003 Ferrari with the nose snapped off, and like I said, the guy's legs are out of it, and that was from that program. The owner of like the Dutch Kroijmans Ferrari dealership owned a 2003 Ferrari F1 car, and that's where that photo came from.
That's insane.
Interesting. Well, of course. I mean, when you get somebody like a dork like that guy driving it, I mean, that's probably.
Yeah. And he was too tall for the car, which is why it snapped. They extended the nose, and when it crashed, it broke at the extension.
Right.
This is the definition of those TikTok videos that's like, if I win the lottery, you won't know, but there will be signs. And it's me. An F1 car, you know? Like, that's what that is right there.
See, if I were Carlos, I don't know if y'all have ever seen it. I would totally just have the car mounted sideways on his wall in his house.
Oh yeah,
No.
Nelson
Yeah,
PK
I was
keeps
gonna
his on
mention
his
that.
wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I do.
I know Tony Stewart has like one of his Indy cars like on the ceiling
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, right?
Imagine waking up and just looking. Oh.
Well, I know Denny
Well, it won't fall. It's super light.
I think Denny Hamlin has like his house is built around a garage in the middle of it, which is I don't know if it's 2 stories tall, it's 1 story tall. It's fully glass. You can see it from all parts of like the first level of the house. It's his Daytona 500 car, just sat there. I'm sure
Hamlin would do that.
I'm sure his wife loved that concept.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So
it's like putting a tree in the middle of your house. It's
literally. That's exactly what it is.
Strawman did the same thing, I'm pretty sure.
But no, happy for Carlos. That's really cool. It's really cool they gave him the car.
Yeah.
I think it was cool, like, send off. I think also, like, not to say this was a PR move, but it was great PR for the team.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
The team got to continue the narrative that this is ending amicably. Like, this is only ending because it's a 7-time world champion, you know? So it's like those kind of opportunities don't come around every day.
I can only imagine, though, if this didn't happen, like, the way, like, F1 fan, well, probably, you know, just Carlos Sainz fans, and maybe even Ferrari fans would come at him. Just be like, yeah. Terrible.
Why they kept the car that long?
Yeah, I think if they hadn't given it to him, they would have given him the option to buy it.
That would be crazy. Hey, you want your car? Yeah, you could have it for like 1.5 mil. I mean, sure, take it.
Right?
I think Charles bought the car. I don't think it was gifted to him by Ferrari.
That's insane to me.
I didn't think it was his because it was in the museum.
No, it's his. It's his. He owns it.
Yeah. Obviously, you could keep it in the. Yeah, I didn't know at first. Okay,
there.
Interesting.
Yeah. But speaking of 7-time world champion, Ferrari announced that they're going to broadcast Hamilton's first day in Maranello.
This is awesome to me.
Interesting concept to me. I don't know.
Well, I would say this. I mean, as you can probably imagine, every little thing is being documented with Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw a post. I saw a post recently that like Ferrari put on their page. They're like new, new infrastructure update. It was literally the sign on their dressing room that said Charles and Lewis Hamilton. It's like, this is the level of press we're getting for this, and I love it. It's so funny to me.
I think it's a little strange, the broadcast, though. I mean, I get it, but like...
My take on it is I don't think that's actually going to be his first day in Maranello.
That's also probably true.
Official day in Maranello, but I don't think... Because I think his first day in Maranello, firstly, probably came a long time ago.
Probably.
He probably checked out Maranello before he signed his Ferrari contract.
More than likely.
Yeah. I'm being, for real.
I'd hope so, anyway.
But I'd also think that he'd been there since, especially, like, post-New Year, before they do it. Like, Ferrari's already passed their crash test, which is, like, another thing for this year. But they've already passed their crash test for the 2025 car. Like, things are moving. In F1, like, January or December is not when you start your car for the next year. Like, they've been working on this for forever, so I'm sure he's been involved and been to the factory a couple times. Like, I highly doubt this is his first day. Like,
I wonder if he's ever been to the factory even, like, before being signed. Like, he's been
in the
sport for so long. I don't see why you would have a reason to go to Maranello, but still.
He's probably been in the town, but I don't think, obviously, one never been let in.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I would say, like, competition.
Yeah. I mean, Lewis is in on it too. He updated profile photo to him in a red helmet. He been posting about him skiing, but he's only wearing red jackets. Like he's all the foreshadowing of like, I can't wait to go to Ferrari.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, it was so funny because I was watching it like, because I'm so far ahead of even you guys, but also like Europe in terms of like New Year's, like 9 hours ahead of the East Coast. So I was watching everyone have their New Year's, like all the way up till you guys. You guys were the last ones I saw before I went to bed. And I watched as like Carlos Sainz changed his Instagram handle to from F1 driver for @Ferrari to @Williams, like at midnight. It was like right at midnight. Local time in.
I'm sure that was PR. I don't think that was him, but
he's not typing in the phone.
No,
it was definitely a PR team. But what I'm saying is like, I just thought it was so funny because I was like just watching it unfold, and then the next morning when I woke up, everybody was commenting about it, and I was like, I just saw this. I had no need to like post it.
Yeah. That's valid. That's valid.
So
also, I just want to bring up actually that this just brought up to my mind. I don't know if y'all saw this, that Puma is no longer with Mercedes, and that Adidas is now going to be the official supplier of Mercedes.
I think that's just because of Hamilton.
What do you mean, Tommy Hilfiger?
What am I thinking of?
Puma had a deal with them.
Yeah. No, it was
because Puma was always a partner with Tommy Hilfiger too. I thought, right?
Yeah,
That's what was the race suit.
Because I thought Tommy was the one that was.
It might be that could very well be it.
But you see, I saw George Russell out to lunch with Yannick Sinner, top tennis player, number 1 actually.
Oh, he would go with him.
Yeah, he was in full Adidas, like George was in full Adidas merch.
Yeah.
Adidas.
Yeah, no, I just saw. So Puma is on the race suit. So like,
yeah,
Puma makes, at least a brand, some of the like actual racing suit and gear, and Adidas makes karting racing suits and like gloves at least. So I'm assuming they replaced Puma, and Tommy Hilfiger only does the team wear.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
That might be what it is.
Is Puma not on everyone's race suit though?
Well, not.
I don't think so.
Red Bull dropped them.
Okay, but most people had Puma contracts.
I'm even looking at like Zhou Guan Yu has like Puma on his race suit.
That's what I'm saying. I think most teams have Puma. So like the big change here is that Mercedes have decided not to go with with most of the rest of the grid and have Adidas make their race suits instead of Puma. Essentially.
Oh, on Mercedes' website, Hilfiger isn't there in partners anymore. Interesting.
I thought they were being dropped too because I thought they were going to follow Lewis.
Yeah,
I know
that would be pretty cool.
Does Lewis have his own fashion line with them, or like?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah, I know that George's girlfriend is, she's sponsored by Tommy as well. So like they were always like the Tommy couple. When you see like a girl and a guy together, a lot of times in like advertisements and stuff, it was always them because they were both sponsored by Tommy. So I don't know if separately from the team, George still has that sponsorship or if that's purely from the team. But
the other thing I'll say is I'm interested if Tommy will go with him to Ferrari, only because Ferrari does have their own clothing brand.
yeah,
that's true.
Oh my god, the Lewis Hamilton scalping is going crazy. All of his stuff is like 50% off on the Mercedes store.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's
so
awesome.
Funny. Anyways, last little thing about Lewis. His race engineer is going to be Ricky, who is Carlos Sainz's race engineer. Not a shock. Like, it just makes sense. Because if he wasn't going to be Lewis's race engineer, then why was he staying at Ferrari?
Yeah,
like,
true.
I think I just expected it, but they did like make an official like announcement about it.
Nice.
The drivers and the team principals rated the other drivers for 2024. And the list does prove my point in that George Russell is not a tier 1 driver. Yes, I bring this back. I'm going to read you the list.
Go.
This is the team principal for the top drivers in 2024. Max voted unanimously. Every team principal voted him number 1. Just like
of course, yeah.
Lando, Charles, Oscar, Carlos, then George. He's P6. He's not even P5. He's not even top 5 in a.
He finished ahead of Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery. Anyways, how could you slight him? That's Lewis also where he finished in the championship.
But okay.
Washed? No.
8 was Washed. 9 was Alonso. 10 was Gasly.
So you're saying Alonso is not a tier 1 driver?
Not right now, no.
He was a tier 1 driver. He's not a tier 1 driver in 2024.
Well, could George improve and be one in 2024?
In 2025? Sure. But in 2024, we already made this like whole thing. If you want to watch us debate this, check out.
We don't need to talk about this anymore.
It again. But yes, if he improves, then he can be a tier 1 driver in 2025. But in 2024, he is not.
Fine.
Interesting.
I didn't pull up the drivers list because the drivers also voted.
Oh man, I bet you George is like last on that list.
I didn't realize they did like superlatives like this.
I think this came out like a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
This is like the AP poll for F1 drivers instead of college sports teams.
Man, I wish the AP did that low key.
I've gotten lost now. I'm on the Mercedes F1 team merch store, and it's really funny because they have Toto Wolff like in all of the clothes, and he looks so silly in this one puffer jacket one. It's like a dork.
Oh man!
From a media standpoint, that is literally the safest thing you could do. Because you never have to replace the photos. Because even if your driver leaves, you can still leave it up.
Oh my god, it's $348. Oh, Toto, you're scamming me.
Hey man, that's that Tommy price right there.
I guess you're right. Yeah, look, if you go down to the bottom of like the team wear side, because I think Jason's looking at it now.
Yeah,
it's the man.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's the white puffer. That one.
Marina, you might need to put some work in. You might need.
Oh, but George is in it too. But George looks like he would wear it.
Yeah,
Toto looks like he was forced to wear it.
No,
you see where he goes wrong is he went light with light, like with the tan pants. You don't go light on light. You need dark pants to fill it
He's
in.
an idiot. He's an idiot. Dummy.
George styled it correctly. Toto has it zipped all the way up too. You're not supposed to zip it all the way up.
No, they still got the Mick Schumacher driver hat too.
Oh my gosh. Who is the guy?
Speaking of ex-F1 drivers, this is like I've seen this on social media. Nikita Mazepin
in the hoodie
was apparently accused of like assaulting a woman.
Great. Are we surprised?
Oh, I forgot that happened this year.
I freaking hate that guy.
But I was like, okay, so like you're never in the news anymore for F1 because you're like washed, like it's been forever.
Literally,
and then
he was washed to begin with.
Yeah,
he came in washed.
Yeah,
he came in pre-washed.
Started out washed, and he left soaked.
Investigation for brutally beating and raping a woman in Moscow.
Oh,
golly!
Like, bruh. He wanted to be an F1 driver. His daddy bought him a seat. He didn't last long because Mazepin. And then,
in the Russian war,
all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, by the way, like, bruh.
Wait, that happened this year?
Yeah, that was this year.
Oh, is this separate from the one time when the girl like posted like the whole it was a misunderstanding thing, or was that this year?
New.
I think this is new.
Okay, so this is separate. So this happened before. To be clear, this happened once before, and like there's like a statement by like the girl that was apparently the accuser, and the girl came out in public is like, "No, I retract it. Nothing happened. He's fine. It was a weird video." This is another
paid off. And I signed an NDA.
Yeah.
Oh, possibly. I mean, Russia's kind of crazy.
Why would she retract her statement if she wasn't being blackmailed?
Well, she never made a statement.
You would think,
but this was long ago. This is crazy. This new stuff is. I forgot that even happened this year. That's wild.
Anyways, moving on from the doom and gloom. Jack Doohan's contract. Actually, this is also kind of doom and gloom. A lot of rumors have been circulating that his contract has like a 5-race contingency where he has to
hear about that.
5 races. If not, he could get replaced by probably either Paul Aaron or Frigo Colapinto.
Yeah,
it better be Colapinto.
Great.
Yeah,
F1's tough, man.
I don't think he's going to do anything in the first 5 races. So. There goes
too tough.
Didn't he win? He won an award. It was something. It wasn't like Rookie of the Year, but he won something recently that I was like, "What?"
Did he?
Yeah, I don't know if it was anything official, but it might have been just like an Instagram post I saw. It was like, "Oh, most improved driver" or something like that. Something like that. I don't know. I was like, "What?"
Motorsport Move of the Year?
No.
FIA Move of the Year.
The movie of the year went to what's his name? Young kid, Colapinto, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought he won. Yeah, action of the year.
Yeah,
was
or Checo.
It was
action of the year was Checo.
Oh yeah,
it was the only overtake he had all season,
and it was the double overtake, wasn't it?
No, the double. Yes.
No, it was the double at the
China.
It was like the last races of the year
in China.
Dude, Alex should have won that.
Albon.
Yeah.
Albon had the one where he like overtook. I mean, maybe like Lance Stroll or something, but then it was in the rain. It was in Canada, and he like comes in and goes to the other side and overtakes another driver.
Yeah,
in the rain.
I remember
they did one for each category this year, not just F1.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
They used to do one overtake of the year from all the FIA series. So that means Formula E, rally, karting, everything, right? This year they did it for each series, got their own moment of the year.
I think that's better.
That's better because Formula One would win it like every year.
Yeah,
you can't compare like action of the year in rally to, or like Dakar or whatever. You can't compare something like that to F1. Like a road.
Exactly.
They're very different.
Yeah,
completely different disciplines of racing, and also, I mean, I guess I might be biased, but like rally clears, in my opinion. If somebody's passing somebody in rally, you know it's badass and cool.
Yeah.
But and also, but Formula One's the same deal. It's just a completely different discipline.
Yeah. They're all very different from each other, so it's hard to compare one to the other. Anyways, back to the morbid. I think this was like on Christmas Day when I was reading about this, so it's a little bit late in terms of news because, again, we haven't had a podcast, but I want to briefly touch on it because I don't think the news cycle ever did. The Senna statue in Imola was vandalized. And
I did hear about that.
Who is vandalizing
that's crazy.
A Senna statue? Like, if it was Lewis Hamilton or Max or like Lando, whatever, I would actually get it because it's like someone like in this age and someone.
Wait, hold on, back up. If you said it was a Lewis statue, I get it. What? Whoa.
I said Lewis, Max, Lando, like someone who right now has enemies. Like,
okay, I get it.
Like,
okay.
So I would get it if a Max fan got like drunk and went and vandalized a Lewis statue. Who hates
so if you drew a mustache on the George statue, you know, that's understandable.
I would get it, especially if someone was like drunk on like Christmas or New Year's or whatever. But like, who hates Senna? I don't get it. It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's always gonna be haters.
Yeah, well, I don't like these haters.
I mean, especially that kind of just.
I could think of a reason, but it's technically unproven. So I mean, I will not.
You would know better than Marina. Like, do the Argentinians not like Senna?
I think everyone respects Senna.
Okay.
There's a difference between like and respect, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think there's a collective, like, especially now. I think there's always more respect and more, let's say, appreciation or love for what someone did after than during. Like, when Max retires, his 4 consecutive world championships and 19 race wins in one season is going to be admired and been like, damn, that was amazing. When it's happening in a season, everyone hates it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, I think that's kind of the same deal with like back when Senna was racing. Maybe he wasn't everyone's favorite because, yes, there were things about him that people didn't like or didn't appreciate or thought this or thought that, whatever, like any driver. But I think now there is, yes, like a general respect for what he did and the person that he was everywhere, not just in Brazil.
It's just like Schumacher. When Schumacher raced, like, there was a lot. Like, if you didn't like Schumacher, you really didn't like him. But like after the fact, 7-time champion, you respect the fact of what he was. Even if you were a hater then, you should not hate him now.
Well, it's like, that's what I was talking about. I think I mentioned this probably in the last pod. It's the same thing of like, you can't sit here and admire Michael or Ayrton and then say you hate Max. It's the same style of driving. Like, a lot of times people will say like, Max was born in the wrong era. because he would have been great without penalties or whatever if he had raced in that era of racing. So I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy.
Was it recently Michael's birthday? Or am I wrong?
Yes.
Was it? Okay.
Yes, I thought it was funny because for his birthday, Mick did like a stories post, but it was a picture of his dad and his sister, not him. Like he wasn't in the photo. Which I thought was like, why would you post a picture of like you and your dad for his birthday?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
There seems to be more and more news recently about Michael and like supposing that he's making like subtle improvements, which I think is really rare and probably not true, but I feel like it's been more common now than it was in the last like 5 years. Like I feel like now every once in a while I'll see something about Michael.
Yeah.
Whereas past it was like silence, like radio silence from the family, which makes sense. They deserve their privacy. But
they totally deserve their privacy, but it is just a shame from our perspective because it's like you don't want to sit here and be like, well, how bad is it? You know, like, I mean, like, obviously it's really bad. Like, there's no way there would be this much security and silence over it if it wasn't, you know?
Yeah. What I think is crazy, and again, this is kind of like going back to like current grid and holiday stuff, but I think it's insane that I don't want to say we lost because he's still alive, but like this amazing, like the GOAT arguably of F1. This was like a skiing accident.
Yeah.
Yet for the holidays, most of the F1 drivers are skiing.
Yeah, well,
it's the European thing to do.
It's a very European thing to do.
It's a very European thing to do. But I'm saying, like, I feel like that would have been like the first thing as an F1 team I would have added to my contract once I saw that accident.
Yeah.
No skiing.
I don't know, drivers has been injured doing stupider stuff. Like who
like,
was there's an IndyCar driver recently that totally
riding a bicycle.
Yeah, so did Alonso, got like a fracture like right here, I thought.
That's totally true, but those are like, I don't know, because for example, Chase Elliott got into a snowboarding incident before the season even started. He was out for like 10 races or something. Yeah. I think on that note, I know a lot of NASCAR owners don't let their drivers compete in other racing series outside of their main job. But I think if I was an owner, winter sports would be off the menu. It's the only thing I'd say. It's literally the most dangerous thing you can do for recreation. Like it's 100%.
Dave Malukas broke his wrist mountain biking right before the season. He's set to be like the starting driver at McLaren this year in IndyCar. Right. And then because he was out for so long, they released him. He lost his job because he had his wrist didn't heal in time.
Well, there's two things to that, right? It's like the first part is from the team's standpoint, like why is that not a contractual thing where you're not allowed to? On the other side, as a driver, like have like self-respect? Like you could so easily be injured doing this. Max was skiing. Carlos was, I'm pretty sure, was skiing at some point. I think he spent most of his time on the beach, but like everyone's like going. Lewis was skiing, so like everyone seems to like going skiing. Granted, I'm pretty sure Max was on the mountain with Penelope, so I don't think he was going very fast. But either way, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're underestimating Penelope.
That's your takeaway?
Like, she's not gonna be zooming down a mountain or like going.
Yeah, on, like, she could be. And Max, the competitor he is, you know.
I don't know, man. People were
definitely a DRS on a mountain.
She hasn't taught her pizza yet, so she's just going French fry down the slopes. Like,
oh my gosh!
I love that those are the terms that that are associated with that, like pizza. Like what?
Yeah, I snowboard, so
same.
I will not comment.
Skiers are weird.
Oh, Steven commented. He went for the jugular. Holy crap!
Speaking of controversies, let's get into the biggest controversies of 2024. Right off the bat, first big one, second race of the year, Christian Horner and the allegations against him and the Google Drive.
I still remember that. That took up like a third. I feel like almost a third of the season.
Yeah.
That deal. Because I remember every time we did a podcast for the beginning of the season, we talked about it every single time.
For
and
at least
like because we would always get like a little tidbit of information every week that made it more relevant the next week.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it came to a close, and we're like, okay. Well, I almost got towards the end of the season. I was like, wait, I forgot that even happened. Like,
did it ever actually come to a close? Like everybody,
I didn't think it did.
No,
it was like argued and arbitrated, and then nothing ever came of it. They like disprove it or something.
We were given a solid like PR statement, and then just went from there.
Yeah. It was just kind of like everybody subtly like the like you said, there'd be a new announcement or a new development that would make it more interesting for the next week. So once those like developments stopped, the team stopped releasing statements, the girls stopped releasing statements, the FIA, whatever, it just kind of became like less and less relevant as time went on. And people like you said, people kind of forgot. I had like almost forgotten about it until I was working on our new intro for 2025. And I was looking back at some of our podcasts, and every like first 10 minutes of every episode for like a solid like 6-7 episodes was that.
Gotta love it.
So I don't know. I think
we got Christian Horner singing "My Miss American Pie." We got him singing that song out of that, right?
Is that on AI?
No, he actually sung it. That came from a file drop from. I'm watching it right now. I'm in my Google Drive.
My gosh.
Google Drive. Please tell me.
Oh yeah, I do. I do have it on Google Drive. I could share with you the song. Yeah, I have the Drive to Survive. I will share the song in the chat right now.
If police, it'd be crazy if police just raided your house one day and then just go to your Google Drive and like, what is this?
That was not AI. This is before AI was good enough to do that.
Well, I don't know. I think it's crazy that we just kind of like forgot about it. But like, I think there's a lot of moments from this season that you don't like. Once the season is over, during the season it's a big deal. And then once the season is over, you remember the good moments and not the bad moments for the most part.
Yeah.
Like you remember Lando's first win, and it's talked about more than Max and Lando's controversies in Austria or in Coda or in Mexico. Like all those little battles are like fun to reminisce about, but it's a very niche community that's reminiscing about them rather than the general F1 public that's remembering Lando's win in Miami and Charles's win in Monaco, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah.
Which is the second controversy for me is the stuff in Austria, because I think back to it because I remember people were like, when I say people, let me be more specific. Sky Sports commentators, all of which, or most of which at least, are British, were really shitting on Max, like hard for that Austria incident. They were like, old Max is back. That was unacceptable. He moved he did this, he did that, whatever. And then Max was kind of stupid in the media and like was like, I'm not apologizing. That's not my fault, yada, yada. Which like, granted, I think PR wise, he could have been better. Could have been a better media statement. But that was what he said. And so then they slammed on him even more because they're like, he's being irresponsible, yada, yada. Flash forward 1 week. And every F1 driver is asked about it. And lo and behold, everyone agrees with Max. I was so pissed off. I was fuming. I was like, you mean to tell me everybody destroyed Max for a solid week? And then it's like, oh, it's okay, actually. Lando even apologized. He's like, yeah, I apologized. It's like, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
You hate to see it.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
What else was controversial? The penalties this year.
Yeah.
The one place was crazy, and FIA like firing people left and right. I mean, they fired the head race director again, Niels Wittich, and then they put in the F2 race director in his very first race in charge for Las Vegas. He was caught on video stepping out of the medical car and throwing trash over the fence. Like what?
It was the first thing.
In the official car on the circuit with people in the stands.
I hadn't even known that the director had gotten fired, and then that was what brought it to light to me. I was like, oh yeah, this is this guy's first like job, like his first task of like his entire like thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, spotted.
Well, that drivers didn't
Mission
know.
filed.
Like they weren't made aware that there was going to be a change. So it's like it was just completely out of left field.
Yeah.
And then most people's introduction to him was him throwing trash out the window. Like
he's forever gonna be known as the guy who left trash in the track.
Literally.
Here's a question. I don't actually know the answer to this. This is a Jason question. Is he staying?
Yeah, this was like a promotion for him.
Okay.
Now the F2 component may be replaced. Like apparently he's still the race director for F2 and F1.
Okay.
So he's there for an F2 race and then the F1 race.
Well, that's a lot. Yeah. I feel like
but that was only for the end of this year when F2 would race at F1 circuits, and then they're gonna find somebody else for F2 apparently.
Yeah, makes sense. You know what else was controversial this year? McLaren, for 2 reasons. Papaya rules was very controversial.
Indeed.
Hungary was hilarious.
Yeah, what a way to get your first race win! Like that was quite the race there. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. Poor Oscar.
But then also the mini DRS was quite controversial.
Yeah, the another flexible wing. Ooh.
Yeah. Not to continue. Go for it.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say. Also, I mean, I think other teams were investigating it too, but I just remember seeing it from McLaren specifically. The water in their tires.
Yes. Whoa. Mercedes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There was a bunch of teams investigated for a bunch of different things here. What did Red Bull have? Was it the front wing?
They
had something that they were told they weren't allowed to use anymore.
Yeah.
Didn't they try and copy
I forgot.
McLaren or something?
It was the ride adjustment. Remember how we were like saying like, oh, they adjust the ride after qualifying.
That's right.
Yeah, they're doing some adjustment. Okay, yes, I remember that.
They had to go and show and prove that like it was like tough to do. Like you couldn't do it in between sessions or anything. Like it wasn't what people thought it was.
Yeah.
There was that. What else?
I have one. This is another McLaren one. My favorite silly moment was like when Donald Trump showed up to Miami, and then David Croft said, "And Lando Norris, Trump's Max Verstappen." I was like, "Oh, he said it. He said the thing. I can't believe it." I thought that was wild. I didn't think he would do it. There crazy.
Was 2 aspects to that. The first part was obviously the Trump part, like in reference to Donald Trump. The other part was I felt like Sky Sports and Crofty just ruined like an amazing moment by making it all about Max. Like I'm a Max fan, but there was no reason to make Lando's first win Norris Trump's Verstappen.
It wasn't even a battle. He just pulled ahead and stayed ahead. It's like you're not gonna say the 1-2 like, oh, Max beat Perez when he's 20 seconds ahead in Bahrain. Like, you're never gonna say that.
The margin is that far,
Yes, but also Lando got a safety car. So like on pure pace that weekend, it's not even like McLaren like ultra trumped Max. Like it was tight. He just got a safety car, so it cut like I think the gap was pretty much the gap between a normal like pit stop and a safety car pit stop. So it's not like it was like this big thing.
Right.
I just felt like it was kind of a moment ruined. Like it was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
What else is controversial? Checo's dad was controversial.
Yes.
Those comments.
I mean, that was right before Mexico, wasn't it? Or
yeah. Everyone's saying he would retire in Mexico.
Well, there was that, but I think that was like pre-Vegas.
Seeing how things ended up, he should have retired after Mexico.
He should have. He should have retired in Mexico. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
The race, and then been like, "This is my last race."
Yep. Because now, I guess this is a point of news, but what is he doing?
Nothing.
Well, yeah.
He's
still under Red Bull.
Yes.
He's being used as like an ad guy.
Yeah. So he's still doing like promotions and stuff.
Really? That's crazy. I didn't think he would stay.
So I think he took like the Daniel Ricciardo job. from last year.
Okay. All right.
Oh, but Daniel Ricciardo does it so much better.
Absolutely.
They I think it wasn't really a choice for him. Because I think, and obviously there's no way to know this for sure, but I think that's probably a contractual thing. Like, meaning, okay, even if we buy you out, like, buy the contract, even if we buy you out, you're still, like, under contract from us for media purposes, assuming you don't go to another team.
Yeah, it was either probably that or, like, just stick around and be, like, a little kind of, like, puppet or just, like, kick rocks. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. You're not getting hired anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just kick rocks. It's either that
you
or
could go to, like,
you are summoned to IndyCar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the
Checo
other
and IndyCar would be insane.
Which was kind of controversial was Liam over Yuki.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
There was a lot of media outcry.
It's understandable, though.
Yeah. Although I think that there was new reports that Yuki was in talks with a lot of teams.
I'm sure. He realized there's no way up for him.
Yeah.
There's no way up for him. He had to have been talking to Pierre. Like,
tell me that every second driver there, except for Pierre, maybe.
Except for Pierre. Well, I don't think he ever consistently beat Pierre, but that's a different story. I'm worried Liam is going to be the next Pierre.
Yeah, could.
It's just a cycle.
That team is just a dying. I mean, it's not like when Sebastian Vettel or what's it called Verstappen raced for it's different. They are not capable of winning races or even contending for podiums.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a dying. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll have this little project on the side, and sure we'll entertain these guys for a little bit. But like
what I think right now is the biggest thing. This is like Liam Lawson keeps his job if he can stay out of Max's way while still scoring consistent points. He doesn't have to be consistent podiums. It has to be that's it. Because I think that what happened with a lot of people, like for example Alex or Pierre, is that Alex and Pierre were at the team at a time when yes, Max was good, but the car wasn't that great. So Max was consistently maybe on the podium, like third, fourth place. But a small minor gap to that would mean they were out of points consistently, like 11th or 12th. Whereas now, like the gap to Checo, it's insurmountable, but it's Max winning by 20 seconds and Checo finishing 7th. So I think Liam just has to keep that gap small enough to be able to take Max's role when Max leaves. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's like high hopes for Liam, but
we'll see. It is high hopes, but I mean, it's realistic. It's the most realistic path.
Yeah.
The thing is, too, I
was gonna say this. I think it's the only thing that makes sense. Like you're running rookies, you can't just keep replacing people.
Well, the thing is, too, I think if you put Yuki in, there's more chance that he's gonna want to be the number one driver versus Liam. I mean,
I see that. That makes sense. Like Yuki wanting to take the fight to Max more than Liam wants to. I think Liam wants to beat Max. That might be a problem for him, but like media wise, it's great. It's like, well, he's gonna beat him. He's not once said, I'm looking forward to trying to beat Max. No, he said, I think he was on like Pit Stop Podcast. He said, my goal is to match Max. But more than that, I just want to learn from him. He's a 4-time world champion and he's a great guy. Like, he was talking about Max, and my mom was in the kitchen. She's like, who's he talking about? I was like, Max. And she's like, there's no way. I was like, I swear to God. So he's great. And I think that if there's someone that's not going to take the fight to him, I think he'd be more than willing to help people out, especially inside a team. Like, what are you doing here that's gaining you 3 tenths over me? Like, some of it's just natural skill, but some of it like can be learned. So,
well, the thing is with the Red Bull number 2 seat, of course, is at least for as long as Max is in the sport, it's always going to be a cursed spot because you are going into that spot knowing that you are not going to win races. You are there to play second field of Max Verstappen, and that's it.
No, absolutely. That's probably the biggest reason why Carlos didn't go to this because so there's all the contractual stuff and like Red Bull weren't really seeking someone out at the time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like at the end of the day, even if they were, he would have to make a decision. Do I want to go to a Red Bull that could potentially be falling off, or maybe they're coming back, we'll see, to be second fiddle to Max Verstappen, or do I want to go build a team almost from scratch, like from the ground up?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Speaking of Williams, though, last little controversy, Logan Sargent, A, being replaced, and B, his car going to Alex Albon. Pretty controversial, especially now. I think at the time, Logan being fired was not controversial. Everybody that still liked Logan were like, oh, it sucks to see him go, but like it wasn't a controversial thing. When you got to the end of the year and realized both Franco and Alex finished ahead of Logan in crashes and in the destructors in terms of money, that's when you're like, bruh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, the funny part was that James Fallows is too truthful for his own good. So, like, when he went to face the media, like, he slipped up and said, like, oh, I respect Mick, but he's not a top-tier driver. No. Or he said that Logan just didn't have it and there needed to be a change. Like, he was so straightforward about it the whole time. And then he said he was, like, dating Carlos Sainz.
Oh, Carlos Sainz.
I remember that comment. Was that it? Like, they went out together for dinner? Like, that was, like, his comment. But everyone said, oh, my gosh, he had to take him out on a date to get him to drive for Williams. Like, that was funny. But, yeah.
I'm excited to see if that Williams car will actually be good. With somebody capable.
It won't be until next year. Not 25, but the year after.
No, but I'm just saying
that'll be
consistent.
The year.
Like, I would like to see a more consistent Williams car. If that makes sense. Like
they're definitely worse than...
I don't care. But I just want to see that car wreck less. If that makes sense.
Well, it will, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it will.
Hopefully.
But I think
it's the biggest thorn in their butts this whole year. It was just they couldn't handle keeping it on the track. Their biggest enemy was the wall, not the cars around them.
I think that there's probably something to be said about, like, if Carlos gets in that car and has X amount of crashes, then you're looking at it and saying, well, that Williams is actually ridiculously crazy to drive, or it really has a problem.
Yeah,
whereas no one is saying that when it's Franco Colapinto crashing the car. Like, it's something to be said about, like, the reputation that he brings of, like, not crashing often. And so it's like, if he comes in and crashes, well, then there's a problem with that car. Whereas if he comes in and does great, and it's like, well, maybe you don't have the top tier drivers you think you do. Because, like, James Vowles is the first to preach, like, we have the best lineup in F1. False. Best lineup in F1 is Ferrari, and then McLaren, and then maybe Red Bull. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, we'll see.
We shall see.
Any other ones you want to mention before we wrap it up for the day?
Can't think of any. I mean,
I don't think there was. I think that was like the main ones. There were some little ones.
It's a long year. That's the problem, is that it ended up being a very action-packed and, like, eventful. I feel like we've said this or at least I have. The last couple of podcasts we've talked about a season wrap-up. It's like, it's been such an action-packed year. It's like, I feel like there are 5 more things, but I just can't think of them.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Is like, could you imagine if 2024 hadn't started with Max winning like 5 of the first 7 races or whatever? Like, can you imagine if the whole season had been like the second half of the season?
If Red Bull started with the car they ended with.
The GDPA, remember that? They came out with a statement, George Russell. Like, that kind of kicked off all the FIA firings when they said, oh, we're super unhappy. And the FIA was like, all right, great. And they started firing people. I think that's what kicked it off.
Person that actually should have been fired.
They just started taking names.
We could talk Ben Sulayem another time, but he is
we could talk about him for
great.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like its own episode.
Literally.
Series.
Own episode. Low key. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the new intro. Give us your thoughts in the comments. And we'll be back next Monday at 11:30 Eastern Time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Peace.